Hello, my name is Makona Kindo, and I'm excited to introduce our project, an all-in-one smart home automation system designed to simplify and enhance the way we interact with smart devices. Our system addresses the modern challenge of seamlessly managing various smart devices from multiple manufacturers, offering a unified, secure, and user-friendly solution for home automation. Given the complexity of navigating multiple applications for different devices, our solution aims to offer a central platform for users to seamlessly manage their smart home technology, integrating diverse device protocols and ensuring secure unified control. In our requirement engineering process, we followed a structured approach encompassing four main phases: requirement elicitation, analysis, validation, and documentation. During elicitation, we engaged with potential users and stakeholders through interviews, brainstorming, and questionnaires. We divided the team into groups to play the roles of requirement analysts and customers, which allowed us to gather a wide range of perspective on user needs. Next, Esther and Jeff will give us some more details on phase one.
Hello guys, welcome to our home automation system project. This team comprises of Elliot, McConnell, Jeff, myself, Esther, and Hunter. The aim of this project was to develop a home automation system that enables remote control and monitoring of various household devices and appliances from one location. One of the major concerns that was raised was the influx of new devices and softwares from different manufacturers that made it hard to use one mobile application for the different systems. As a team, we decided to tackle this project by taking this into consideration and creating a system that can be on one centralized app by integrating innovative technologies like AI. This system will offer enhanced convenience, energy efficiency, and security for homeowners. The phases were broken into two distinct phase one and phase two. On phase one, we focused on identifying and documenting the specific needs and expectations of the system. The key areas focused on included the required functionalities, which include the device discovery, the communication protocols and integrations, the API integrations, the security and privacy, the voice and AI integration, the potential stakeholders, the end users, the security experts, legal, smart manufacturers, the application development team, protocol, and developers. We decided to do an interview process to gather insights from the potential stakeholders above.
The team first identified the various stakeholder groups that would be applicable to the home automation system. People like end users that might purchase and use such a system, cybersecurity experts who could help us with the different security measures we would need to put in place, legal and compliance experts who could walk us through the different government regulatory issues we might encounter, smart device manufacturers who make the end user devices that the system would ultimately interface with, the application development team, and a communication protocol developers of any different protocols that the system would have to speak to the different devices. Once we had those groups identified, we came up with a list of initial questions specific to each stakeholder group. The team used a brainstorming session and decided on the 4 top questions we would ask to each group individually. We decided that it would make the most sense to actually break the stakeholders into related groups based on the shared themes of their different requirements that were expected. And so we interviewed them in pairs, such as the end users with the cybersecurity experts, or the device manufacturers and the communication protocol developers. This allowed us to have the stakeholders' answers kind of play off each other and open more of a dialogue and make sure that we weren't missing anything in our questions or allowing any of our biases to creep in. After the interviews were completed, the team members reflected on what we had heard and made any revisions to our questions based on what the stakeholders had told us. Once the team reviewed the interview results and modified any questions according to the outcome, we then created a survey with 10 questions based on what we had heard from our initial stakeholders. We invited a group of potential end users to complete the survey by posting a link in an online forum that potential users are known to frequent. The surveys were configured to record the names so we could ensure that no duplicates were created. And once we had all the answers, we compiled the results into a common worksheet and assessed any new insights or patterns that may have emerged. All of that data from the surveys, as well as the interviews, was then put through a requirements analysis in our phase 2, which my teammate is going to talk about next.
Hello everyone, my name is Elliot Wideman and I am excited to share our progress in phase 2, requirement analysis, validation, and documentation for our project Smart Home Automation System. This project helps us practice understanding and documenting requirements, like what features and qualities a system should have to meet the needs of its users. The Smart Home Automation System is designed to allow users to control and monitor various devices in their homes like lights, security cameras, and thermostats from one central system. In this phase, we focused on analyzing the requirements we collected, validating them with stakeholders, and documenting them for development. Step 1, analyzing requirement. First, we reviewed all the data from phase 1, where we collected feedback from stakeholders through interviews and questionnaires. Our main job here was to identify functional requirements, the specific things the system needs to do. For example, stakeholders wanted features like remote control of devices and setting schedule for lights, which we listed as functional requirements. Then we identified non-functional requirements. These don't describe specific functions, but focus on qualities like security, usability, and performance. For instance, the system must be secure and prevent unauthorized access, which is a key requirement for any home automation system. We learned that defining both functional and non-functional requirements is important because it covers both what the system should do and how well it should work. After listing the requirements, we prioritized them based on what stakeholders considered most important and what was feasible within our scope. This prioritization ensured that we focused on high-impact functionality aligned with project goals. Requirement validation. Step 2. Validating requirements in the validation step, our team divided into 2 groups. One group acted as the stakeholders and the other as the requirement engineer. We went through the requirements list where the requirement engineers presented each requirement to the stakeholder for feedback. This session helped us make sure our understanding was aligned with what stakeholders actually wanted. For example, the stakeholders clarified that they needed an easy way to monitor energy usage, which wasn't fully captured in our initial analysis. This feedback helped us adjust our list to be more accurate. We recorded the session for future reference and documented any issues raised. This step was valuable because it let us identify areas where our analysis would have missed the mark, and we made necessary updates to improve our accuracy. Step 3, goal model. With our updated list of requirements, we created a goal model, which is like a tree structure that breaks down the system main goals into smaller, manageable goals. Each goal corresponds to a requirement, and using an and or decomposition, we organize these goals to address both functional and non-functional needs. For instance, if a main goal was secure home access, we broke it down into sub-goals like user authentication and encryption of data that directly support security requirements. This model helps visualize how all our requirements fit together and shows how each contributes to the project objectives. Lessons learned, challenges, and improvement. For me as a beginner, this phase taught me a lot about the importance of understanding requirements from multiple perspectives. One being communication. I learned that communication with stakeholders is essential to avoid misunderstandings. Having a structured way to check in on requirements with stakeholders made a big difference in aligning our work with their needs. Prioritization, setting priorities for each requirement, that really helped us focus on what mattered most to the user, and it helped us avoid unnecessary complexities. Some challenges. One challenge was organizing all the feedback and also coordinating between our team members. Since some of us are beginners, it took extra effort to understand the best way to document and also to prioritize the requirements. We also realized that some requirements were hard to define because stakeholders had different preferences, which made prioritization harder. Some improvements. If I could change one thing, I'd recommend using a tool that allows stakeholders to comment directly on the requirements list. This could streamline the feedback process and make it easier to handle large amounts of input. Additionally, setting clearer expectations for feedback might have helped reduce some of the back and forth adjustments. In conclusion, Phase 2 was a valuable learning experience for me as a beginner. Through analyzing, validating, and documenting requirements, I learned the importance of aligning our understandings with what stakeholders need. The goal model provided a clear way to structure our objectives, and validating with stakeholders helped make sure we were on the right track. Thank you for listening, and I look forward to any questions about what we've learned in the requirement analysis, validation, and documentation. Hope you all have a great night.
Hi everybody, my name is Hunter Blake, and today I will be assisting with the presentation of Phase 2 of the Home Automation System project, focusing on requirements analysis and specifically the documentation approach. So during this documentation process, we examined how the system addresses user requirements, particularly through 5 key domains. We utilize both use cases and user stories to both illustrate and effectively document these requirements. So the 5 requirements domains which we focused on were environmental controls, security measures, performance optimization, user experience enhancement, and status monitoring. And I can walk you through the use case of enhanced user experience here. And as you can see, we had one use case for each of the requirements domains. So in the enhanced user experience use case, we have the mobile application as the primary actor and end user as the secondary, and they interact with each other through the system. And in this case, the mobile application maintains an intuitive UI with an inclusion to user-friendly application controls, which the end user receives. There's also a optional extension for voice accessibility features, which the end user can integrate. And the mobile application also, through the system, allows customizable settings with inclusion to set schedules and presets, as well as minimizing delay and alerts and notifications. And these are all customizable settings which the end user can use through the system. So in addition to the use cases, we used user stories as part of the documentation process. These stories outline the core functionalities of the home automation system, focusing on key interactions between different stakeholders and the system. These stories encompass essential features ranging from automated scheduling concerns to enforcing security measures. So as an example, we can cover the requirement of the monitoring of home status and events. And a user story in this example would be, as an end user, I want to monitor real-time energy consumption so that I can track and optimize my utility usage with the goal of saving money. This is a common user story for anybody using a home automation system, being able to track their usage and view real-time energy consumption reports. So some of the key learnings and future improvements regarding this would be the integration of user stories earlier. So while we created a comprehensive list of use cases first, we found that introducing user stories earlier could help shape the technical requirements more effectively from the beginning. Two, we would benefit from more granular scenarios. Our user stories could benefit from including more edge cases, particularly around how different user types interact with the same features. And then lastly, enhanced traceability. So creating stronger links between related use cases and user stories would help maintain consistency across our documentation. So in conclusion, the documentation phase has given us a solid foundation for development, while also highlighting areas for future enhancement. Our focus on both technical and user-centric documentation ensures that we're building a system that is not only just functional, but that it truly meets the requirements as set forth by our users. Thank you.